Just had a pretty unique insight. Has anyone ever told you that, like, oh, it's so great, you're young, you still have that spark? Like, they recognize that they had this spark and they lost it. Typically, this is brought up when I'm talking about, like, really just changing the world in a really big way. I think all people go through a state of asking yourself, why are you here? And then you start asking yourself the question, well, what do I do? Once you come to an answer of why are you here, which typically ends in, I'm here to help make this place better. Then, when you go, what should I do? You start thinking about the problems you care about, okay? And then you say, where do the problems come from? It's like you want to get to the root. Where are the problems coming from? What can I do? And then you start thinking about what to root for. When you get to the root of something, it's teaching you what to root for with your time and your actions. And typically people then get into politics for a little bit. And there's a different set of paths that exist here. One is despair, where you look at the system and it just feels so large and you feel so small, and so you kind of take on a victim mindset. Some people kind of just go, I don't even want to like start to dive in and think about how to fix that. I'm just gonna try to do good and be a good person. And so it's more like return to conformity of comfort. That's probably the high majority pathway. And then within these realms of comfort, you still partake in political dialogue, because that's what we as humans do. You know, that's like the amount that we take. And obviously we get caught up then, rather than looking at like the two-party system as messed up. We're kind of forced to just like pick sides, and the sides are built in such a way that it distracts from looking at that overall system and wanting to bring something different to the table. I think that's a pretty common path. But you know, one of the biggest things I realized, the insight I had, was whenever I would hear people say, oh, like, I used to be like you, I used to think like you, like, it's so good, almost like you're naive that you have this young spark that you can actually do something big in the world. I think these are all people who are no offense, but like, it got too hard. They ducked out. I'd say I realized this especially because I'm in the midst of it being really hard. And I could totally see myself, like, a part of my brain wants to basically go, okay, you know what? You know what I love? Is just having a family. There's that person I really like, you know, I'm just gonna find a nice place to settle down, have my family, and fall in love. That's really fucking appealing, man. Not that I'm talking about it. And then I would see myself later. I would meet someone like myself if they were young. I mean, this is me plotting a future where AI doesn't get super strong, because I think what I'm about to say, you know, me much older, the world just looks too vastly different to even kind of live in the traditional world. Or I guess a better way to put that is to live in a traditional mindset. Like, if I'm just thinking 20 years in the future and I'm trying to act like I'm going to have any bit of a similar life experience as someone is having today, that's just silly. It's just going to look so vastly different, right? I mean, in that sense, we're really in the end game. I mean, we're really getting the tool system to be able to create limitless art, movies, to dream together, to build a vision together. To me, that's like a waking up moment for humanity. This is also a big risk moment for humanity. This is where fear can really become hyper strong. It's where, you know, everything you want may now be released upon you. So the person who is just addicted to porn, now they're gonna have VR headset porn. They can watch themselves have sex with anyone, your child, your friend, your mom. Like, they can generate that. So the perversion capabilities are gonna be a lot stronger, and people are going to be trying to make money off that. They already are. So like, just the need for a strong culture and love and like compassion, and to reach out to our fellow humans who may be getting beat by, I guess, these extraction capitalists. Let's call it what it is. There's a human behind it on the other side who doesn't fully recognize that making money by destroying other people's lives is not a good way to live, and that they're going to have to live with the fact that they did that. So let's also wake those people up. All in all, I'm like very bullish then on some of the profound things that come out when you do start thinking long term, and like Bloomsday Prepping. That's why I wear this flower bracelet. Is I think when you essentially look at the future and you think we're gonna win, you start helping make it happen. There's an autopoiesis that exists to this world. You know, what we collectively care about generates our reality, and that profound insight is more profound than how it made you feel when I just said it. So you should really sit on that one. No, literally, collectively, the narratives that we feel are the ones that generate reality. And when it comes to narratives, this is where I'm really bullish. This is where I actually think my grandeur missions and foundation and things I've set up actually will come to fruition. It's just a matter of breaking into the content game and breaking the content game by doing it different. I've got loaded up 3,000 people I just hired unpaid interns under my new 501c3. So I'm doing all the like real legal professional grounding work, but then I'm using my growth hacky, like, you know, who used to become the best in video games by, I would use cheat codes, you know, not cheat codes, but like play 20 accounts at once. It was called multi-boxing. All in all, this is just like growth hacking. So I look at the world as a video game too, and there's just like a profoundness to it. Even now I was thinking like, oh, there's this dude here. He's probably pretty cool. I just get the vibe that he's cool. I was just thinking about, oh, I should just hang out and just shoot the shit. And then I was like, it's weird that I never like want to just shoot the shit with people anymore. I always like, I'm so purposeful and intentful with my conversations. And that somewhat is like, I mean, that's way less comforting and fun. I just love chilling. You know, I also love questing. I do need to get more good questing energy around me, so, you know, I'm not just pulling it out of myself all the time. Lots of questing energy actually is around me. It's just not as cohesive as I'd love. We're all fighting on the same exact path. Not same exact, but like more coalesce. I guess while I'm speaking that out, I'm realizing it is hyper coalesced, and honestly, you just have to recognize that, and that's an important framework of mine. But I guess I'm just getting down to like having one or two specific generals to work with me in person right now. I've got amazing people there overseas. That lacks a little bit of the energy. So I think I've gone on multiple tangents here. And one, I just want to say, if anyone out there has lost that spark, let me spark for you. Let me be your connection to that meaning and purpose or whatever, like reinvigorated inside of you. If you listen to my plans enough, you may just find that you become delusional with me, that we can create a hyper bright future and do all the things which will solve the root of all problems in the world and create a truly empowered people, by the people and for the people. A revolution of sorts is always the pattern that's happened against corruption. And so, you know, when we have that delusion together, that's when it happens. On top of that, I think when we talk about like really systemic stuff, this is where I guess I think I'm one of the best thinkers in the world. Not on the nature of exactly all the solutions and exactly how they look, but more so on how you build the narrative and the movement to bring the people with the solutions and platform them, and just that ecosystem, just creating the tip of the spear. There's a lot more that goes into it, but that's where I'm placing myself in the world. That's what makes me feel like when I watch hero movies that I live that. That's what makes me get up in the morning and realize that, hey, if I'm right, I better fucking get to work and I better not stop, because that's really important. One mindset that tries to grasp onto me is this mindset that like, I don't need to do anything, like God already has it covered, because I'm very much so a man of faith. But I think that the key insight there is, if you're a man of faith, you become a man of action. You become like the hands, eyes, and ears of whatever holy godlike figure you're looking up to or worshiping. And that is strictly based off of the fact that you are very connected to a lot of suffering in the world. Even if in your direct network you don't have any people who you know are suffering, they're there. I think I push this out of my mind so much, so I'm assuming other people do. Maybe because I push it out of my mind so much, it allows me to stay idealistic and a dreamer. But I obviously see a deep value in just like staying close in a mental model to all this suffering and tragedy that exists in the world, but looking at that as something that we can conquer. And yeah, when I do look at like doing good in the world, I'm like, I want my impact to truly matter. I want it to be systemic. I want it to get to the root cause of the problem, so that I'm not just bailing water from this ship, but I'm plugging the holes which are letting the water in, because that's when we really get a vote that's unsinkable. And not like the Titanic, because there ain't no iceberg that we can't defeat. We're in a time of ultimate meaning. Meaning is the only scarce resource you should worry about accumulating, which really you can think about in the form of good karma. But to explain that, it means if we're successful, you won't really be able to help. Like heaven is the place that you can't help become better. The deeds are done. So you want to be on the highest, order of angel that you can. You want as much eternal respect points, literally. We will have no judgment after Judgment Day. This is a Judeo-Christian background understanding. I am an omnist. I speak these words more on the first principles basis that I think they hold truth, not on any basis of any certain religion is 100% correct. I believe all religions are pointing towards something and building a framework for something which we can all loosely understand when we start seeking the question to ourselves of why are we here, or what are we meant to do? And at the very least, these frameworks give people a really positive way to understand the vast amount of reward potential that there is in being a great person, and understand the risk of not. I don't think people will burn in eternal hell, but I do think that if given the chance to play again, some people may say, you know what, I didn't live live my life to the fullest. And I think we'll have the technology in the future to sort of do it. I don't know, when we want to live as long as we want, how long are you going to want to live? It literally might depend on how long you want to live based on what you do now. But I don't really like even spreading these vibes because these feel like somewhat bad vibes. It's like using fear as a motivator. So that's something which I don't know if I like the vibe of it, of what I was just saying. Like more so the vibe is like, holy shit, the future is going to be great. We should dream really big and focus on what really matters here. And that's sort of a lot of fun. Like that's the most beautiful delusion. And all we need for the most beautiful delusion to come real is for us all to believe in that delusion. And I guess that even as a line isn't perfect. Like, the delusion's got to be reasonable. Okay, let's not have one sole government of the tyrannical rulers over the world who control our destiny, but let's have a government of all souls. That's my delusion. That's my grand delusion. That's what I think every human deserves. I hold that truth to be self-evident. That all men and women were created equal. The only thing we can be unequal in is making that come true. Paradoxical. Gotta love it. Anyways, I throw these up on my archive thing because I believe eventually a lot more people will see all the effort and energy that went into this. Sometimes I send it to specific people who I think may find interest in it. And I don't know how many people watched this end piece, but if you did, let me know about, I guess, congregating the Bloomsday path. It's like how we win. To me, that's an important thing. I hold that key within my heart, which is why I'm so excited about the future. It almost feels like I bear it, and that's why I will to share it. Many hands make light work. So let's make light work. Can't say much more than that. Goddamn. Cheers.